Oh, fuck.
There's straight bars, Bucky? The black part.
Oh, no, they're just normal, but
Oh, I see. I was like, oh, what's that?
These are 75-pound weights. Don't look at the number. They were printed wrong, but they do weigh 75 pounds each. All right, bro, you ready?
Yeah. I thought they were 25.
No, they're 75. Okay.
What's our topic?
Bro, I can't do it right here. Okay. That should be all right.
You want me to scoot
It's
over?
kind of
You
tight.
just asked me to scoot over.
Can you scoot over? Okay.
I could, like, turn, man.
Okay.
I can oscillate.
Oh, yeah, that works.
Yeah. Damn, bro.
Okay.
Just not give me the opportunity to oscillate. Kind of unfair.
Oh, this is going to suck. All right, my thoughts for the day. People in life often favor comfort, and they become really, really skilled at making excuses, and it is almost an instinctual response, an innate response to make an excuse not to do something because that is the more comfortable option. And what you're doing there is you're sacrificing the opportunity to experience something that you potentially have never experienced before. And there may be more opportunities like that opportunity, but that exact opportunity will never come again. And once you've said no and the opportunity passes, it's gone. So I think that it's really important that we learn how to say yes to more things. Stop making excuses, because who wants to be 70 or 80 years old on their deathbed thinking about all of the things they missed out on doing because they chose comfort and excuses rather than adventure. Shay, what do you think?
Oh, it felt a little bit like an attack.
That's okay. Too many thoughts.
Well, the thoughts that I had in response to that is that also, it's totally viable, and if you find peace and a lifestyle that has you doing very little, then nobody should stop you, and you shouldn't stop yourself. Because amount of activity and adventure does not directly correlate to the amount of satisfaction and peace you find in life. And that we are totally capable of living a more docile, comfort-filled life and laying on our deathbed peaceful and happy. It's all a matter of preference. But I will add that I don't think everybody aspires to their preference fully. So there are many that would like to do more but don't do enough. But at the same time, there are some people that do too much and don't know how to slow down. And by the end of all their adventures, they look around and see how much they didn't actually fully immerse themselves in. So it's just whatever you need for your life. And it's a matter of discovering what that need is and what that preference is and what brings you that kind of peace. And then just going all in on it and not being a fucking pussy about it.
I think what we're getting at is balance. You need to learn how to balance. That's my thoughts for the day. Do you want to share anything else?
No.
We were done, but we kept having a discussion about it, so we're gonna keep recording. All right.
What the hell?
Say the Walter White thing again.
I was saying, when Walter White goes to Alaska and he's hiding out and he has that one fucking white dude show up and... am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is our channel.
I know. when he has that fucking white dude who has the vacuum store, what the hell am I doing? This is fucking trippy. I feel like I'm doing Ironmans because I'm trying to hover. But the vacuum store guy tells him that he needs to shut up and not interact with anybody and sit in this little cabin in the woods, and that he'll bring him food and he'll bring him some meager entertainment like magazines and shit. And Walter White's just going crazy, and so he like goes into town when he shouldn't, and he goes to bar and like all this other crap, and then I don't know, the plot continues. He ends up calling the wrong people, whatever. There are people that would be in that cabin and have that circumstance where they have everything they need, just the bare necessities, and have absolute peace, that they'd be completely satisfied, and they could live a 70-year-old life doing just that. I mean, I think of like animals and how like obviously there's a lot of differences between us and animals, but when you see an elk that just wanders around for most of its life, eats the same kind of food for the most of its life, and does simple mating activities and social activities that deer do, you know, like eating with your friends as opposed to just eating alone. I imagine to the extent that deer are capable of experiencing it, they're probably pretty fucking satisfied. And I think some people can live like deer and fucking eat their grass and fucking wander around. And
My response to that was that is also an opportunity that a lot of people may favor, may want. That's an opportunity that people will make excuses because it requires work to get there. You can't just show up at a forest and just live on your own. You would most likely die unless you're some crazy survivalist and you have the capacity to function off of absolutely nothing. But
that's extreme.
that is another opportunity that you could turn down and make excuses for. All I'm arguing for is whatever you want to do, whatever calls to you. I think it's easier to make excuses. And if that's what you want, if you want the lifestyle where you don't do anything of significant, or no, I'm not trying to say that's not significant. If you want the deer lifestyle, if you want to go live out in the forest and have that lifestyle, that's an opportunity that you have to take. And yet people will still make excuses to not do that.
I mean, I agree, but the forest is not the like prime example. I was using the Walter White thing because it's just that lifestyle that he had to live was like there was nothing more docile than that. Dude just beat his meat all day and ate mac and cheese. But we see that with people right now where they'll have life give them these experiences. Like, say you're born into a really rich family and you just become this like garage incel and you have like all this money and you don't need to go out and get anything. They have the capacity to be completely satisfied for their life without doing anything. And that somebody shouldn't go in there and be like, hey, you need to grow, so you need to go present yourself with these strive and challenges and build yourself. If they find ultimate satisfaction in just having everything given to them, I think it's not necessarily unfair to just be able to let them do that.
Okay. I think in that specific case, if somebody is happy with their comfort, then I implore them to continue to be comfortable. But for those people who are unhappy and unsatisfied with life, which I think I see far more often, I interact with thousands of people a day, and far more often I see people complaining about how unsatisfied they are.
Yeah.
About how unadventurous their lives are, and about how little they do other than just go to work. And I'm speaking to those people when I say Stop making excuses. Stop being comfortable and go and make some mistakes. Fail at something. Tell somebody that you have a crush on them. Even if you know you're going to get rejected. It's far better to know the outcome rather than to just have some made up fantasy in your head. And so I speak to those people that want to do things but aren't doing things. Stop making excuses.
We did it. We now sound like a TikToker.
It's okay. What else do you have to say?
I just was gonna play more devil's advocate.
Do it.
I just think that it's like a lot of people think that they're missing some grand adventure and they are missing that strife that they think they need, but it's because that's the only lifestyle they knew was what they had. And it's just like, I feel like that's a modern world problem where we don't know how to just appreciate what we got. We're very quick to just be uncomfortable with our circumstances and then desire change as soon as we get something.
Oh, this sucks.
And it's just like, we don't need to spend our entire life chasing something. But I'm not telling you not to investigate and try to figure out if that's really something you want or not. But just, I feel like people get into this feedback loop where they'll think they need strife and challenge and adventure. They'll go out and find strife, challenge, and adventure, and then become comfortable in a new circumstance, and then proceed to think they need more strife, challenge, and adventure. And they just keep doing that until they're like unsatiated by so much of life because it's not enough strife, challenge, and adventure. And it's like now you're doing like weekly parachute jumps and wingman. It's just, there is a breaking point that'll happen to a lot of these people. And it's like they're just in this weird mindset where they constantly think that the way to make themselves feel better is strive, challenge, and adventure. But you won't know until you do something about it, so just figure that out, I guess.
I think there's obviously... Wait, how do I do this? Okay. I think that obviously everything has a balance. And to me, the deer lifestyle, it has its favorable traits for sure. But I would far more rather jump off a cliff with a wingsuit once a week than never have an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, that is fine, bruv, but I think that the goal is to be capable of peace at any point. So if circumstances don't allow for something, or if circumstances do allow and you aren't taking them, you should sure employ yourself to take those opportunities. But if you don't disintegrate yourself. Be peaceful with either circumstance, no matter if you're capable of doing something and you're not, or if you are capable of doing something and you do it. You should be capable of peace perpetually. Obviously that's not something that happens, but you should seek to be at a state of peace no matter the circumstances that you experience. And that's what I'm trying to argue for, is that it's not just a goal of renewing ourselves. It's be satisfied with merely existing. Be satiated by just living life.
I don't want to sound argumentative, but I think that's a bad mindset to have. To be satiated and just accept, that sounds to me like someone's telling you hey man, you can't do anything in life, be okay with it because you don't have the opportunity. When I'm telling people, I'm trying to implore people to be excited and take risks. I'm not saying that you have to go live this crazy Bear Grylls lifestyle.
I'm not, yeah.
do all this crazy stuff all the time. But I'm saying people are far too comfortable, and I don't think that they're happy. And great if they are, great if there's people who want to live in their parents' garage and do nothing for their whole lives. That's fine. If they're happy with that, good for them. I'm not talking to those people. I'm saying there are people who want to do stuff in life. I'm trying to excite them and say that, yes, bad things can happen. That's fine if bad things happen. But I think it's far worse for nothing to happen at all than have a memory that you can look back to. I would rather have as many memories as possible than have the memories of 4 walls and a garage, you know? That's all I'm saying.
Regardless of what we say, it comes down to the individuals and the circumstances that they're in themselves. But I'm just trying to make sure to argue for the point that we should find the good in every circumstance. So, within that condition, we should try to strive to find peace in every circumstance. Even if we end up chasing more things and we go out and chase those things, versus if we don't, you should be peaceful no matter what, or desire to be. And you can't be peaceful, or you can't experience like infinite peace, of course, but just I know that there are people that desire more fulfillment and they go and seek out that fulfillment, and that's fine. But life does not set conditions and rules for us to follow, and there is no rule that says you need to have the most fulfilled life, you know?
So I think it's important to ask yourself what you want from
Yes.
life. And ask yourself if you're doing what you want to be doing, and if you're doing the things that you think are necessary in order to achieve the life that you want. And if you are not doing enough, and if you are not satisfied with your life, then I think it's reasonable to say that you need to stop making excuses.
Or just learn to be satisfied.
I guess it's just two different mindsets.
I don't think so, bro. I think you can do what you're talking about while also learning to be satisfied. It's like unsatisfaction doesn't need to be the only thing that drives people to change and move and grow. And if you are unsatisfied, you can become satisfied without changing your conditions, and then still proceed to go and change your conditions, but as a satisfied person.
I agree.
I don't think that we're that far off from each other. I just want people to not, like, trap themselves in this idea that, like, without, changing their conditions and without seeking freedom from the places that they're in and, like, all this, that they can't also be peaceful until those things are done. You can be a happy, satiated, sad person and then go and seek the things that you want or think you want. But it's just, we don't all need to be David Goggins fucking lifting the boats every day of our life.
I think
the David Goggins one is a distracting idea, but so don't pay too much attention to it.
I think we are arguing for two. Well,
I think that they're the same thing.
I think what you're arguing is against an extreme that I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing for that extreme. And I think you're arguing against me in that you think I'm stating that extreme. I'm not stating the extreme. I'm trying to state that there is more that you can achieve in life than just being okay with everything. If you learn to accept everything, you also learn to accept the things that you know are bad. And yes, you should be thoughtful. You should be mindful, and you should learn to be satisfied with the things that you cannot change. Sometimes you cannot change your situation, and you just have to be okay with it. Yes, I agree with you. You should learn how to be satiated in that circumstance. But don't use satisfaction as an end-all be-all, reflex. I think everybody has the opportunity to progress. Everybody has the opportunity to better themselves, to do more.
Yes. I agree with that. And I'm saying, while you're doing that, be satisfied. That's what I'm arguing for, is that even while going through change or not going through change, be satisfied. If you desire more, if you're thoughtful and you introspect and you realize that you do indeed desire more, and you go out and seek it, be satisfied in the seeking. Be satisfied in the moment before seeking. Be satisfied in the moment after seeking.
What is satisfied? What does that mean?
Satisfied is just the idea that you're accepting of everything. You're peaceful with everything. And within peace, you can still experience sadness and happiness. I'm not saying you're in like a perpetual state of like blissful joy and ignorance, but like when people sometimes get into this like mindset of growth, they tear themselves apart more than they need to. Because yeah, you got to break your muscles to have them heal back stronger, but like people will damage themselves more than needed because they don't allow for themselves to be satiated until that goal is met or until they've climbed that hill. And it's like, we are here for the entire bulk of existence. So be satiated when sitting at the bottom of the hill, struggling to get out of bed to climb the hill. Be satiated while climbing the hill and over the boulders and all that. And be satiated when you get to the top and you're looking back down. Be peaceful throughout all of it. Because no matter what is happening, we are here existing, and existence itself is an opportunity to be peaceful. We only differ from animals because we can perceive some level of attention, that we can look at things and identify it and then identify ourselves in the same space. That is like the driving factor that separates us from the house cat or the wild cat. It's just, we're just aware of everything. And that awareness often, I feel like we distract ourselves with it and, we end up hurting ourselves. But yeah, we can be a satiated house cat or a satiated wild cat, and we can be satiated in the transition from house cat to wild cat. It's just this like downplaying ourselves and destroying ourselves that's unnecessary. Do only what is necessary. Yeah, shred your muscles in the pursuit of strength, but don't beat yourself up mentally for not doing it good enough.
So, what you're saying, when you say the word satisfied
And peaceful for me are going hand in hand in this example.
Okay.
And I'm trying to stay away from terms like happiness or sadness.
Yeah, that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of being content, perpetually being contentful, being content with the fact that you are existing, and that any experience within existence is worthy of being content for. That is my argument.
You are arguing mindfulness, being mindful and being aware of your situation and accepting the circumstances, which is something that I have also made a video about in its own. It's just that, being mindful and accepting the circumstances.
We'll put a link to it in the corner.
Shut the hell up. And what I'm saying is, yes, you're right. We are saying the same thing through two different perspectives. Yes, you should always be peaceful. And even if you are not good enough, even if you are not doing enough, yes, you should still have peace with that. As well as ask yourself, how you want it to be different. Ask yourself if you are satisfied. You can be satisfied in a moment and still accept that that's not what you want.
Yeah, that's why I am trying to accentuate that, because I've been the guy watching the shorts of David Goggins screaming at me, and like I've beat myself up during it in the wrong way, and that's like I know is an experience that I am sharing with other people. That like you sit there and you find yourself in this I think more unhealthy mindset where it's like, yes, you desire change, and you want to seek it, but instead of just following that course to acquiring that, you like tear yourself apart and you disturb that peace, and that I don't think is necessary.
I just realized your mic is upside down.
I don't know which way is up.
I'm gonna laugh if we can't hear anything you said the entire time.
Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. I'm kind of retarded.
This is That's funny. I hope you can still probably hear it through mine if nothing else. That's hilarious.
But yes, I understand that like for a lot of our life, it takes like moments like this where you're at some bottom of a pit, and then you see this video that just like strikes home. You know, you're scrolling through Doom and they're just going and going, and then you see Cooper Gettings like, go on, get up, and it hits different. Or like when I find a Jordan Peterson video and he's telling me to clean my room, like it is a healthy thing, and it can be like a very inspiring thing. But I've seen the other side of that same avenue where I'm like being shredded apart by some like Navy SEAL guy who's like, yeah, I you know, if you haven't beat your wife today, get up and do it. You know, like it's just, I don't think that we need to tear ourselves down. We just need to be, mindful. We need to be like capable of perceiving what we desire. Do we have it? Do we not have it? And finding the path to having it, and enjoying the journey of going from not having it to trying to get it to having it.
So,
and like I beat my meat to that. That's so beautiful, you know?
Instead of listening to Jordan Peterson and David Goggins and everybody else, instead of hearing what they're saying and immediately feeling bad about yourself, ask yourself, does it resonate? Is what they're saying make sense? Does what they're saying seem like it'll help me in life? And if the answer is yes, then I think that, yes, you can be satisfied with where you are, and you can be content and be okay. But if you say, yes, this is something I want to change, then you can allow yourself, I think, to me personally, it is okay to feel unworthy in that sense. Not in a way that you tear yourself apart and you destroy your sense of self, but it's okay to allow yourself to get knocked down a couple rungs and say, damn, I need to make a change. And that's okay. And then you should accept that you have progress to make.
I agree. I just want that clarity, because I just feel like people miss that. It's like, be content with the fact that you suck at something. Like, just be content that you're a piece of shit and you fucking don't take care of your family, and be content with the fact that you fail and you are terrible.
Because you have the opportunity to change it.
Yeah, and as long as we are mindful of things, and I think that's like the driving factor, where it's like, if you aren't perceiving that, okay, now you are harming everybody and yourself. But like, if you are able to see that you aren't doing well enough, or you aren't satiated with the progress you're making, and you drive yourself to work harder, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, and like making mistakes and going, damn, I really fucked up that time, didn't I? But okay, let's get up and keep going. And it's just like, it's like we should lean into our human willpower to just constantly persist and drive ourselves, but do it contentfully. Because regardless of if you're at the top of the mountain, or if you're climbing it, or if you're at the bottom, the entire time you are alive. And that is the first and most worthy thing of our existence, is that we are experiencing, and that can be good enough. Everything you do beyond that, it's up to you. Except for being homosexual. Don't recommend that one.
That's a good shock factor right there for me.
I hope we don't have to take that one out. I mean, you can be. I'm just...
No, if that's what you want to say, that's what's on there now.
I mean, it's just, there's a lot of factors that go into that maybe aren't fully considered. But anyways, I think that's a different topic of the day.
All right, make sure to like and subscribe. No, just I will never.
Yeah,
do
no,
that.
definitely
I
link
will
that
never
video
do
in the
that.
corner of the video.
Do not like this video.